religion and spirituality needs some new representatives right now in our culture and in our society. You really need to invest in spiritually rooted change agents, because through the people comes the new world.
It's experiential. It's a whole different way of looking at education, of looking at growth and connection with other people.
PSR, that tradition of boldness, is something that we not just learn in our classroom and in our community. It's something that becomes part of who we are, and it is nurtured deep down in our soul.
For individuals for whom those scholarships were not available, would not see PSR as a part of their future, I see that as critically important.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacob Perez. It is my distinct privilege to welcome you all to Pacific School of Religion's 2025 Distinguished Alumnx Awards Banquet. I graduated from PSR in 2021 with my master's in theological studies, and I am serving, thank you, and I am serving as I'm serving as the president of PSR's Alumnx Council. All right. That sounds like some volunteers that want to join. I also have the privilege of playing a part in PSR's marketing department. So if you have seen any ads or social media messaging about this weekend, and if you responded and shared and liked and showed up, our team is especially grateful for you. And so welcome. As we begin this evening, it's my great pleasure to introduce the president of Pacific School of Religion, Reverend Dr. David Vasquez-Levy.
What a wonderful opportunity to be with you all here tonight. Welcome to Pacific School of Religion. Welcome if this is a trip back to a place that has shaped your journey. Welcome if this is your first time here on Holy Hill, getting a sense of the kind of community that is standing and has stood on this place for over 160 years, seeking to create a world where all can thrive. Tonight we have just an amazing opportunity to be able to see embodied the work that this institution has done generation after generation, as we recognize some of our alums who embody the kind of work that we seek to do to prepare spiritually rooted leaders with the vision, resilience, and skill to create a world where all can thrive. A critical mission that has been important from the very beginning of this institution, but that in many ways we know is particularly important today and in our world today. A few years back, one of my predecessors, John Knox McLean, in a time very similar to our own, in 1884, to a gathering of both alums and students, said the following words: "The new century promises to disclose events and conditions in society of a widely revolutionary character." McLean was speaking to a time that had been shaped by the dehumanization of the Industrial Revolution, by a tariff war led by a president that a current president is seeking to emulate, both in its expansionist ambitions and its sense of the role of the country. That century that he predicted would lead to major disruptions. The Chinese Exclusionary Act. It would lead to the disruption of many places in the Pacific and in the Caribbean, again, in very eerily similar ways. John Knox McLean asked this question: what ought to be the attitude and function of a theological seminary at such a time? In 1884, this was a tiny little institution, and this is what he suggested: it ought to crave for itself due share in shaping the new order of things. Amen. We gather here both humbly but also courageously to try to shape the new order of things. What will come next in our society, for our communities, in this moment, in this institution that has a history of being on the right side of history. But tonight is a night of celebration of the ways that we have shaped generations of leaders and celebrate some of those particular ones. And it is the beginning of our oral lectures. The oral lectures was started in 1901, a little bit of history. It is the longest running series in California. And this lecture series has hosted wide-ranging leaders in our society. As we return to the oral lectures in this post-pandemic world, we are delighted that you are here. As we engage a critically important conversation about how we reshape migration, we are delighted that you are here with us. We hope you'll join us tomorrow, and if you didn't have plans to, you can still change your mind and come join us. What a better way to celebrate No King's Day, but to gather together in community to think about what comes next. Welcome tonight. We look forward to celebrating. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, David. At this time, to center us in gratitude and in community, please join me in welcoming the Reverend Dr. John Vaughn, a PSR alum and a member of our Board of Trustees, who will offer tonight's blessings. Reverend.
I bring you greetings this evening from the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. On behalf of our members and our senior pastor, I greet you in the name of Jesus Christ, who is indeed the ground of our being. It is good to be here. I can't believe I graduated from here 40 years ago. I was 10 at the time. Before I pray, I also want to say a special gratitude to two people, Pat DeYoung, who was my first boss when I left PSR, and you were 10. But when they were looking for a staff person, she sent the job description here in Lynn Rhodes. Put it in my mailbox. And the other is Elizabeth Dilley. Elizabeth worked with my wife, the Reverend Dr. Kim Jordan, at Marble Collegiate Church in New York City. And when we saw your name, we went, oh my gosh, Elizabeth is getting honored tonight. And so how wonderful it is to see you and to be able to celebrate you tonight, Elizabeth. Let us join our hearts tonight in prayer. God of grace, God of glory, on your people this evening pour your power. This evening we gather as the PSR community first to say thank you. Thank you for this institution that has challenged us, prodded us, supported us, comforted us, opened us, and shaped us, led by your Spirit. Thank you for those that have come before us, that have made yet even this moment possible. The names we know and the names that we don't. We want to thank you tonight for those whom we honor and celebrate. Thank you for the ways that you have guided and grounded them in their ministry. Thank you for the different ways that your Spirit has moved through them, demonstrating your unconditional love. In this time together, oh God, help us to be open to your presence, your Spirit that was here before we even opened the doors. May your Spirit minister to us, strengthen us for the work you are calling us to do, and in all we do, help us remember that evil does not have the last word. Your love does. Thank you this evening for the food that has been prepared from farm to table and from all those that have taken part in making it happen, those who've cooked it and served it, those who will clean up, those who will take care of the space. for it all is of you, and for that we are grateful. So bless this food and bless this gathering. I pray this in the name of Jesus, the one whom I call Savior and friend. Let all of God's people proclaim it so by saying amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Please enjoy the meal that's being served family style this evening at your tables. We'll continue the evening's program as you dine. The meal tonight was prepared by Understory, a worker-owned restaurant and community space. Let's give them a hand. And I'd like to welcome Chef Janabi Perea to say a brief word about our meal. Chef?
I won't take up too much time, so I know folks are really hungry and already smelling the food. But once again, my name is Janabi. I'm one of the 4 worker owners of Understory Oakland. Just a really brief thing about Understory for folks who have known Understory, or is your first time experiencing Understory. But let me bring you back in March 2020 when the pandemic hit and everything shut down. Understory was actually was a group of 4 folks that was all working and then all was laid off at that time. Where things shut down, things get reprioritized. What's deemed priority and what's deemed to be important. But what we knew and stayed true for Understory is that folks needs to be fed regardless of your ability to pay and regardless of what the situation is. Understory to the Ruth and have ever asked us what our compass is, and that is that. Understory was our response and our contribution to what a just and community-centered and space could look like. That typically in a restaurant industry has always been, how do you make more money as you exploit more workers so that you're able to do so? And our response was, no, it should be the opposite. The restaurant Understory right now, you can go to any time that when you go in the heart of the Fruitvale, go to any of our services, whether if it's, don't go on Monday, we're closed. Tuesday to Sunday, whenever we're open, our heart of our menu has always been a community offering, something nutritious, something that's really hearty, and you get to eat, and if you're not able to be able to afford it, we'll give it to you for free. It's always been a compass for able to eat in that way. What does it look like to have people livable wage? What does it look like, not just for you, but your spouse and your kids to have access to health care? So when we think about Understory and what that could really be, I stay proud around our 60% labor out or labor things to what it can be, because that's what it should be. So when we hire folks at Understory, we hire folks to become worker owners, they become candidates, they become mentors. So what does shared wealth and resources could really be and look like? I would tell you right now that it's not easy to do this because it's the opposite of what a traditional restaurant would look like. But for y'all dining with us today and being able to experience this, hopefully you get to taste the flavor, the food, even just the hug that you get in your food today, because that's what we prepared you for tonight. The menu reflects the people that works at Understory, so you have a mixture of Filipino, maybe a little bit of like spices here and there. Tonight you have a milk bread that's completely vegan with an ube butter that we make in-house. We have a banana heart salad, not just using banana leaves on the table, but banana heart itself. And then for entree a little bit later, we have some anato and java rice with chicken and asal. We also have some trumpet mushrooms and some tofu. And a little bit later on tonight, we'll have a little bit of a really hearty, really rich chocolate tart that's going to be served for dinner. And I hope y'all enjoy and come see us at Understory when you're available. Enjoy, y'all.
As we continue our evening, as you're enjoying your meal, we are going to show one more video, and then we are going to continue on with our program. Matthew?
My commitment is to the work of the next generation of professors. I really believe that we need to prepare academic leaders, in addition to all the other kinds of leaders that we have.
I see those new religious leaders as catalysts, and I feel that they have to be invested in.
To be a catalyst, either as facilitator and as a student too, is to actually curate a space in which we can develop honest and genuine conversation that pushes us to go beyond the superficial.
The new crop of scholars that we have come built in with interests that crisscross disciplinary boundaries. This is going to create a sea change in the way we understand knowledge.
As we continue on with our program, I'd like to invite again President Vasquez-Levy back to introduce the next part of our evening and share a few words about our thriving mission and community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. As we continue, please do continue to eat. There's plenty at your tables. Let's give a hand to Understory for their meal preparation. I know at our table, ube butter is a new favorite. El camino lo va a llevar. I grew up in Guatemala, and during my high school years, in the middle of a civil war, is when I came to understand the power of communities of faith. My family on one side was Jewish, on the other side was Lutheran, and the Lutheran side of my family involved a lot of clergy, working in rural communities in the mountains of Guatemala, in places where the church was not just a place to gather on Sunday, but it was everything. How you organized, how you sought out for one another, for health, for education, for advocacy, for protection. I grew up in the city, and one side of my family was very committed to education. My abuela Miriam, who was Jewish, always said to me, and to all of us, they can take everything away from you, except your education. As a child, I thought this is just what Jewish grandmothers say. But of course, it was born out of a reality of a family that had been displaced generation after generation, and that knew that education was central. On the other side of my family, my abuela America never learned to read or write. Both of my abuelas were single mothers in a very paternalistic and patriarchal society that raised their children to become people that would transform their families and their communities. As I traveled in the mountains of Guatemala, coming from the city, you know, these people in rural areas, what do they know? Until I would get to a place in the mountains trying to find the group, if I got separated, I could not figure out where the heck I was. There were no road signs, no directions, no Waze, no Google. And if you ask for directions, people would say, El camino lo va a llevar. The road will lead you there. We are at a time in which finding our way requires that we pay attention to the way. That name used by the early followers of Jesus to describe themselves as the way. A people that knew that they were a people on the move, and that when you are on the move, as the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. Tonight we celebrate people who know the importance of moving together along. PSR is at a pivotal point. I've had the pleasure of being here for 10 years. I can't believe it. And every day I am grateful to be part of a community that is committed to imagining a different way, to seek ways to prepare leaders that can try to imagine what that new way might be for congregations, for organizations trying to find ways to operate in an environment where the government does not have their best interest at heart, and especially to center the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, those who know what it is like to do with little, those who know what it is like to operate not out of abundance, but out of scarcity that does not define them. Over the last 10 years, thanks to the work of the board, the faculty, the staff, the students, many of you who support this institution, we have transformed this place by its people, its programs, and its place. And so we celebrate all of that today. In this space that next year, we will mark 100 years of this building. John Vaughn, who serves on our Board of Trustees and offered our prayer tonight, reminded us at the board meeting that it is important that we are here on Holy Hill to remind us in this moment of disruption and disorientation that we were here before and we will be here yet again. This coming year, we will celebrate the 25th anniversary of a work towards inclusion by the Center of LGBTQ and Gender Studies in Religion. "25 years ago, establishing a Center for LGBTQ Studies in Religion at a seminary was not a good idea either for the queer community or for the religious community. And yet, this institution, as it has generation after generation, believed, not always with full agreement, but that this was a critical effort to understand the world that we live in. That it is not in exclusion, but in inclusion that we create the world we all want to live in and the world we want to leave for our children and those who come after us. In this space, we have begun to reimagine not only through the people of this place, we are now 70% students of color, 55% LGBTQ. Again, not a common thing to happen. Because often in religious communities, you have to either choose the queers or choose the brown people. But you can't see them together. But we know better, and we are teaching, learning, exploring together, so that what we rehearse here on this holy hill will invite us not to stay here and build 3 huts, for those of you who know the story of the Transfiguration, hang out here with Jesus on Holy Hill, but to transform this place from a cloister to a hub that invites to this hill not only children at a middle school, engineering students trying to figure out how to engineer solutions for social problems, but to reimagine this space in faithfulness to the legacy that we have inherited. So who all is walking with us here tonight? Might be good to find out. So let's very quickly, I'm going to invite you to stand up in various groups so we know who all is in the house. And it's up to you if you want to make some noise or however you want to make your presence felt. First and foremost, I want to recognize our students on whose behalf we do our work. So please, if you're a student, stand up. If you're a student at PSR right now, amen. If you are part of our faculty, if you will please stand. Where's our faculty? If you are part of the PSR staff and are in the house, please stand up. If you are a member of the Board of Trustees at PSR, would you please stand? I am grateful to our Board of Trustees for their incredible leadership, for their dedication and their bold thinking. As we have wrestled, like many not-for-profit organizations and educational institutions, about how to be in this moment, one of our board members that happens to be sitting over here said, our goal should be to be tweeted at 2 a.m. by Trump in capitals. We'll keep trying. And if you're part of the Alumnx Council and are here with us tonight, I know Jacob is, and I know we have a couple of other recent members of the Alumnx Council who are joining us. Thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. There are many folks we want to recognize tonight as we gather. We have some remarkable guests with us. For tomorrow's lecture, we have like a stellar group of people with us. One of our board members, Patrick Reyes, in his book, The Purpose Gap, talks about the importance that in this moment we need not only stars but constellations. So if you're part of the constellation that will inspire us tomorrow, if you would please stand. Luis Argueta, our filmmaker, will be with us tonight. And let's see, where is everybody else? Cynthia Bueza is, where are you, Cynthia? Over here. Thank you very much, Cynthia. Wonderful. And Jose Luis Marantes will be one of our speakers tomorrow. So thank you for being with us. Thank you. We're just getting going, y'all. This is fun. We recognize today alumni who are with us tonight, especially as those marking significant anniversaries. If you are marking your 5th, 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th, 50 or above, would you please stand? Thank you. You will get to hear some of the stories of these remarkable folks as they do their work. Mo Wright earlier today was joking about the fact that he's feeling like, somebody in the military with all those ribbons. So I got to tell you a little bit about what those ribbons are. For those of you who are donors to this institution, we give you thanks with a fearless purple, what are those things called? Ribbon. Thank you for being a donor to PSR. If you're a donor to PSR in the last year, please stand. Many of you who are donors to PSR also have an orange ribbon that represents the Building Society. These are folks who have made a commitment not only of their resources now, but their legacy gifts to endow and to support the work of PSR into the future and for generations to come. So thank you if you are part of the Building Society. And then those of you who have a pink ribbon are our distinguished alumni. Both those we are recognizing tonight and those who have been recognized previously. If you are a PSR distinguished alum recognized in a previous year, would you please stand? El camino lo va a llevar. We will find our way together. And along the way, we got to tell stories. Stories that will inspire us. Stories that will help us to persist, to resist, to imagine. And in a conversation earlier today with Luis Argueta and Cynthia Bueza, as we were walking my dog over on Point Isabel, to have some fun, to make some jokes, to ridicule those who think they hold all the power, who know not the one who ultimately holds all power. And so we take a moment to recognize also those who have had a lifetime impact in our community. We recognize tonight 2 Lifetime Achievement awardees. Unfortunately, neither of them is able to be with us because of health challenges, but we want to recognize them and tell their story briefly as we gather tonight. Our first person to be recognized tonight for a Lifetime Achievement Award is the Reverend Dr. Tom Fujita, class of '85. Dr. Tom Fujita embodies faith shaped by resilience and lived through decades of compassionate ministry. A Japanese-American pastor whose early life was marked by the displacement under Executive Order 9066, Dr. Fujita transformed hardship into a lifelong commitment to healing and justice. A personal tragedy and spiritual awakening led him to Pacific School of Religion in his 40s. At the time, that wasn't all that common, where he discovered purpose and grace. After earning his doctorate of ministry in 1985, Tom served congregations in California and Hawaii with a strong emphasis building vibrant multicultural ministries and fostering interfaith ties. In 1990, he and his brothers made a transformative $1 million gift to PSR. They sold their share business together and gave a gift to the school to help shape generations of ministers that would be similarly formed to the way that Tom was formed. Even though he came to PSR late in his 40s as a second career, he served for over 40 years in pastoral ministry until they finally had to, his wife had to say, Sachi had to say, okay, we got to be done. Please join me in recognizing Tom's ministry. Our second Lifetime Achievement Award tonight is for Stan Watson. Many of you know Stan. He served on our board of trustees, and I'll share a little bit about Stan's life. He exemplifies the integration of ethical reflection, professional excellence, and compassionate leadership. Leaving a successful law practice during the AIDS crisis, he came to PSR seeking a deeper understanding of meaning, justice, and God. He studies under ethicist Karen Labax, who's with us tonight. Welcome back, Karen. It's great to have you with us. Like many of you here who were shaped by Karen's teaching and prophetic voice, Stan work with Karen ignited a lifelong commitment to ethical leadership in healthcare. He retired as vice president and director of Kaiser Foundation Research Institute, where Stan became a national leader at the intersection of law, healthcare, and ethics, work that has shaped institutions and improved countless lives. His gratitude to PSR inspired extraordinary generosity and service, including his tenure on the Board of Trustees and the establishment of the Stanley Watson Chair in Ethics, in large part thanks to Karen's work in his life, so that others may be equally transformed. For those of you who are students now, we look forward to the ways that you will shape new generations to come. And we'll turn now to our distinguished alumnx, who we will recognize tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, David. At this time, I am going to invite Arlene Mendoza, who's chair of the PSR Board of Trustees, who will be leading our presentation this evening for our Distinguished Alumnx Awards. Arlene?
Let me find my place. Hi, good evening. Thank you, Jacob. Since 1866, Pacific School of Religion has prepared bold spiritual leaders to serve at the intersections of faith, justice, and compassion. The Distinguished Alumnx Awards recognize graduates whose ministries embody PSR's values of transformative service, theological depth, and prophetic leadership. This year's honorees represent a diverse range of ministries, from congregational renewal to reproductive justice, interfaith advocacy to trans-Latina empowerment, and ethical leadership in healthcare. Tonight, we honor their extraordinary witness and impact. Here's how the flow of our awards will go this evening. For each award, I'll invite the presenter and the honoree forward. The presenter will introduce the honoree. Then we'll share a short video reflection. Afterward, the award will be presented and then take their place on stage so we can celebrate all of our honorees together. For our first award of the evening, Reverend Miss Ann Jefferson, PSR's Director of Community, Life and Spiritual Care. Will present Reverend Dr. Dunbar's award. If you would both please come forward.
Good evening. What a wonderful evening. So much family in the house. Love it. So I am proud and delighted to have the privilege to make this presentation to our first awardee, who is a dear sister, pastor, friend, the brilliant Reverend Dr. Tony Dunbar. She is a founding elder and associate pastor at City of Refuge United Church of Christ, which is located in Oakland. And she is also the founder of Imara Heritage LLC, which is a pioneering mental health first aid initiative and trauma-informed congregational care. And I wanted to share, just before we watch the video, a quote from, I think this is one of your favorite authors, Nikki Giovanni, which it represents the work that you have done with so many. And if you listen to the quote, you'll understand. She says simply, "It is not unusual to sift through ashes and find an unburnt picture." And that embodies the heart of the work that you do. So congratulations. We'll watch the video and then we'll present the award.
I offer sincere thanks to this seminary, to the selection committee, and the entire PSR community for this unexpected and inestimable honor. I began at PSR in 1991 in a then first of its kind Certificate of Ministry Studies in Urban Ministry. Our idea was to open traditional theological education to urban, especially Black pastors of thriving churches who were, by virtue of commitments, energy, and time, disincentivized to withdraw from our churches that were already, in fact, mentoring middlers and other interns in significant numbers. I still remember instructors such as Katie Cannon and Dolores Williams in the flesh, and the profoundness of these scholarly heroes. PSR's outstanding faculty still make my heart sing with memories. PSR has always granted and rewarded courage for innovative and experimental thought. And as I look toward a still adventurous future, I hope to be a PSR archetype, a gift that offers depth and resonance to the coming generations of spiritual leaders. May we continue to make contributions to a larger cause than religion. May we be theology in practice, and may we persist as forces for a more just and equitable world. Thank you for such an esteemed award.
We need you to stand up so we can present this award.
Our next presenter is Reverend Patricia DeJong, PSR Alum 78. Former PSR Board of Trustees and 2020 recipient of the Distinguished Alumnx Award. She will present Rev Dilly's award. If you would both please come forward, and you're here.
I'm really honored to present this award to Elizabeth Dilly and to tell you a little bit about her. But just before I do, I think there's a couple of people in the room here who might remember when this Bade Museum was our library. And that's a long, long time ago. I think it's maybe 45 years ago. I'm so pleased to introduce you to Elizabeth Dilly. She is a native Californian and a fellow Sonomaan, go Dragons, and who left California and went all the way to New York to find her self in faith. She went to New York University and ended up at Marble Collegiate Church as a secretary to a pastor, and that sent her on this journey. Elizabeth arrived at First Congregational Church of Berkeley when she was here at seminary and became part of our staff. And so I knew her in that time, and I was really blessed to be able to help you grow in faith, and I think you taught me some things, and I'm going to tell you in a moment what they are. And also, I was so pleased to be able to be your ordaining pastor. I think one of Elizabeth's most amazing gifts is that she has a Saturday Night Live level of humor and ability to crack amazing jokes and make you laugh. She's the best dinner partner you could have. She knows how to laugh. She has a joie de vivre that fills her life, and I'm sure your family and your work, with a sense of passion and profound joy, deep joy, about what it means to be a Christian and a woman walking in ministry. That's your gift to me. One day we may do some improv together. Yes. That would be great. Yes, Elizabeth left Pacific School of Religion and went to Red Oak, Iowa, and became a pastor there in that congregation, in that church. I served in Iowa, and I know what a hard sell, David, you did too, what a hard sell something like that can be. Elizabeth served her congregation with distinction. She followed, and I want to say his name, because one of the reasons why you went there was to follow the Reverend Scott Libby, who is a statesman in the United Church of Christ. And to be able to follow him and do a great job, Elizabeth, you got the stuff. Elizabeth now works on our national staff of the United Church of Christ. Her job is to supervise, as part of the national staff, ministerial excellence and support in ministry. In this position and throughout your life, Elizabeth, you have embodied a deep faith, a profound love of God and the people that you serve, and that's only colored by the joy that you have in ministry, the joy that you carry in your heart for people, for faith, for justice and love. I am so pleased that you are getting this award tonight. God bless you.
Thank you so much for this honor. I was profoundly grateful for the academic rigor that I experienced at PSR. I came prepared to work hard, to dig deeply into academic texts and religious texts, and to research and write in deeper ways than I had in my undergraduate studies. But I quickly learned that in addition to all of that, I would also have to mine my own history, my own stories, and my own soul for wisdom, truth, and new learnings. I want to lift up a few former professors, Andrea Beeler, Louisa Shatroff, Russell H., Rondi Walker, and Boyoung Lee especially, whose words still ring in my spirit. I also bless the GTU consortium that stretched me beyond PSR's bounds. Church history with the Episcopalians, Greek with the Lutherans, and preaching without notes with the Baptists and the incomparable Reverend Dr. J. Alfred Smith. Where the gift of PSR really rests is in the community I experienced in my 3 years here, and in the communities I've continued to build and be a part of. My friend and colleague, the Reverend Catherine Willis Pershey, reminds me that the word for parson, another word for pastor, shares its roots with person, and that the work of ministry is fundamentally about how to be an authentic person within a community. PSR has helped me to be both parson and person, and I'm so grateful for it. Thank you again for this honor.
Presenting Reverend Jaramillo's award is Dr. Aaron Brody, PSR professor of Bible and Archaeology and director of the Bade Museum of Biblical Archaeology. If you would both please come forward.
Well, good evening, everybody. Some of you I know, some of you I don't, so I'd like to say welcome on behalf of both Pacific School of Religion, but also the Bade Museum, in which you sit, in which I direct. And to use an archaeological pun, I'd ask you all to dig deep, please, in the spirit of this evening. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce Reverend Linda Jaramillo. She's our third honoree, longtime trustee of PSR, and former national officer and executive minister for Justice and Witness Ministries of the UCC. Linda has been a tireless advocate for racial justice and immigrant justice as well. Let's give it up for Linda.
Thank you very much for this honor. I am humbled to be recognized as a PSR Distinguished Alumnx, class of 2005. When I think of how PSR prepared me for ministry, I have to begin with this community. You have truly been a blessing to me and to the world. When my dear friend Brenda Vaca and I went to Dr. Archie Smith, complaining that we could find no resource materials written by Protestant, Latina, Chicana authors in the GTU library, he smiled at us and said, "Then you'll have to write them, and I'll make sure they land on the library shelves." So Brenda and I wrote our final project, focused on pastoral care from a Chicana perspective. Brenda and I both went on to be published authors in collaboration with other women writers. Yeah. I also have the good fortune of having Dr. Randy Walker as my professor and my advisor. It was through Randy that I discovered the spiritual roots of my family, dating back to the Sephardic Jews who settled in northern New Mexico. She was an amazing advisor who was always available for the big and the small questions. I'm also deeply grateful to my mom, Luisa Jaramillo. Some of you may have known Mom. She encouraged me every step of the way. I think she loved the UCC and PSR as much as I do. The PSR community has grown and changed in its relentless commitment to diversity and inclusion. We are truly unafraid of transformation for the sake of preparing leaders for the faith communities of tomorrow. For all this, I give God thanks, and I thank you again for this honor.
Susan Abraham, PSR's Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dean of Faculty, and Professor of Theology and Postcolonial Cultures, will present Reverend Johnson's award. If you would both please come forward.
So once upon a time, a long time ago, PSR had nice deans. They were very nice. I'm not nice, I don't have a script. I'm just going to say what I remember of Jude Johnson. There are 2 rules students need to obey when they meet me. 1, I want to know as soon as I meet them, when are they leaving? And I ask them this in a vaguely menacing tone, because as President David said, staying here on top of the hill is not an option. There is a world out there that needs you desperately, so please don't stay. You can see this is not delivered in a nice way. The second thing is, don't bother me. This is a cardinal rule. Now, I don't mean bother me in the sense of, if you think something's going on in your classroom or there is something we can improve, of course, come and talk to me. But don't bother me otherwise. Jude left. Big checkpoint. Jude did not bother me. Very big checkpoint. I'm so proud of this alumnus. I also want to say Nicole also did not do any of those, so thank you. But I'm so proud of you, Jude. Thank you for the work that you are doing. You are truly salt, bringing flavor to the world. And this is the thing about salt, right? I've been on this salt thing for a while now. Too little, you notice. Too much, you notice. Invisible, everybody has a great experience. And that is Jude Johnson for you. Congratulations.
Thank you for this recognition. And when I reflect on how the Pacific School of Religion prepared me for the work I do today, I remember a place where I was challenged, supported, and shaped into a minister who could step into complex, emotionally demanding work with compassion, curiosity, and clarity. I currently serve as the programs manager at All Options, a national nonprofit that provides unconditional, judgment-free support for people navigating their experiences with pregnancy, parenting, abortion, and adoption. This work is not just a job, it's a call shaped by faith, justice, and community, all of which were nurtured during my time at PSR. I chose PSR because it felt like the only seminary where I could truly be myself. I remember my very first chapel service at PSR, Dr. Sharon Fenema read "For Those Who Have Far to Travel" by Jan Richardson. I didn't know it at the time, but that poem would become a spiritual touchstone. It named something sacred about the journey I was beginning, a journey that would eventually lead me to the work I do now. Whether in the classroom, in field education, or in everyday moments of shared life, my time at PSR taught me so much about what it means to show up with care and integrity. Now I get to pass that on, one call, one volunteer, one sacred conversation at a time.
Presenting the award to Nicole Santamaria is Dr. Bernie Schleger, Executive Director of the Center of LGBTQ and Gender Studies in Religion. If you would both please come forward.
This is a real honor and privilege for me. I am honored to present our final awardee for this evening, Nicole Santamaria, We salute you for your work and ministry as an internationally recognized activist who is advancing day by day healing justice, trans Latinx empowerment, and intersex advocacy, and for your inspiring and life-saving leadership as Executive Director of ELA para Trans Latinas, an organization that works for a world where trans Latinas are protected, celebrated, and loved. And where trans, intersex, gender diverse Latinx people are welcome, safe, represented, and valued in all spheres of life. Also, from the perspective of the Center for LGBTQ and Gender Studies, Nicole was a beacon and is a beacon for our constituencies who have seen lived out in life her witness in so many different areas, from local communities to meeting the Pope and beyond. Y ahora me gustaría decir gracias y felicidades. Thank you and congratulations, Nicole.
When I began my journey at Pacific School of Religion in the fall of 2017, I was already deeply rooted in the work of healing justice, walking alongside survivors of violence in El Salvador, especially women and sex workers. PSR gave language and grounding to what I had already been living, that justice is never singular. It is racial, it is gender, it is class, it is embodied. Today, as Executive Director of ELA para Trans Latina, I carry forward PSR's vision to create a world where all can thrive. I lead with a trauma-informed heart, shaping programs that center healing, dignity, and collective power for the trans, intersex, and gender-diverse Latinx immigrant community. My ministry is not in a pulpit, but in the fierce and sacred work of accompaniment, at City Hall, on the streets, and across borders. I raise my voice for body autonomy, for visibility, for justice that includes us all. PSR taught me to hold both the weight of the world and the light of possibility. And in every step of my work, I'm building that world where we all belong, thrive, and flourish. Thank you, PSR, for this recognition, and thank you, each one of you, for your lives.
Let's invite all of our awardees for a group photo as we celebrate their collective impact as the 2025 Distinguished Alumnx Award honorees. Please join me in one more round of applause for all our 2025 Distinguished Alumnx Award honorees and Lifetime Achievement awardees.
Thank you again to Arlene. Congratulations to our awardees. Tonight, we've been reminded of the incredible reach and the impact of our mission, our shared mission, through these distinguished leaders. And this work is made possible by the generosity of people who care deeply for the future of the church and the well-being of our communities. And I am delighted to invite Mark Jacobson, who is chair of the Development Committee of the Board of Trustees, to share some good news with us and share how you, all of us, can be a part of making a difference. Mark?
Well, you know we're at the end of the program when I get up here, so that's the good news. Anyway, thank you, Jacob, and good evening, everyone. It's my joy to share some truly remarkable news. Recently, PSR was awarded a $1 million grant from the Lilly Endowment. You know, it's a milestone that reflects deep confidence in our mission and the future of theological education. When combined with other generous commitments, including the extraordinary $3.5 million gift from Stan Watson, who was honored earlier, we have now raised over $16 million to support as part of our leadership phase of a campaign. You know, these investments are already shaping PSR's future, funding scholarships that open doors for students, supporting faculty who are leaders in their fields, driving innovation, advancing inclusion, and sustaining the transformation of our campus. Tonight, I want to invite you to join us in this exciting momentum. On your tables, you'll find envelopes, and you'll also notice QR codes in the program on the screen and posted around the room. In fact, I think they're right there. Please consider honoring one of our remarkable awardees or someone who has inspired your own journey here at PSR by making a gift in their name. President David, Michelle, our development director, and our entire development team would be delighted to talk with you about the many ways you can help shape PSR's future at this critical moment. Together, we can ensure that PSR continues to prepare bold and compassionate leaders for generations to come. Thank you.
Well, we are at the end. The good news, yes, amen. The good news is there is coffee for me and for all of us, and there's dessert. Before we do that, I just want to briefly share why I give as an alum, as a former student, as a staff member. Anybody that works with me or knows me knows that I absolutely love to brag about my daughter. She's my firstborn. She just turned 2 in July. Her name is Lena. And she is just my absolute life. So I give to PSR because I want to create a world where she can thrive. And man, there's so much just up against that, right? But I do that because of Lena, all right? And so you can give because of Lena as well. She's adorable. I'll show you photos. Okay. We look forward to seeing most of you tomorrow for our Earl lectures starting at 9 a.m. So get some coffee in the morning as well. You can still sign up if you have not. And you can still show up, and we'll find a way to get you registered. It's all good. On Sunday, there is a free event. President David will be preaching at First Congregational Church of Berkeley on Sunday at 10 a.m. There are some flyers right around the corner that give you some ways to continue engaging with PSR. Almost all of these are online. CLGS has their calendar of programs. There is some information about the PSR Collective, which we will be talking a little bit more tomorrow about. You will want to check that out. And then on November 18th, we have a book signing and a conversation with a PSR alum, the Reverend Doug Cunningham, who's also Dr. Lisa Azadilio's dad, who's a professor here. So You'll want to check that out, get that flyer as well. There are so many people that have gone into this night. Michelle, Hayden, and Drew of the development team have just done a stellar job putting this together. I also just want to give a shout out to Patrick, who's just been providing some amazing music. And you know, it can't be a PSR event without us giving a shout out to Matthew, our IT extraordinaire, who makes everything great. So yes, there is dessert, there is coffee. You will see me over there. On behalf of PSR, thank you for your presence, your support, and your partnership. Please have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
I want to include Jacob in the word of thanks and also invite you. We have a PSR background right here. If you want to take some pictures with each other, with others, please take advantage of that. And wonderful to have you with us tonight. Please stay, visit with each other, and we look forward to being together tomorrow. Thank you.